What's going on, folks, and welcome back to the Duck Roost podcast. And it's been a while since we dropped one. We've been Christmasing, holidaying, working, and duck hunting. We've been busy. We really hadn't had time to sit down and do a podcast. So we are out on our second trip. This is our last night.
Yep.
We'll be headed home in the morning. And we got up here and everything's frozen.
Yep.
Solid. I mean, could walk across it, ice skate, whatever you want to do, froze solid. We brought the boat, hoping that maybe that there were some places on the main lake we could get back in some coves and try to shoot some ducks, but that didn't work because all the boat ramps were frozen.
Yeah.
And the ice was, so far out that we couldn't launch the boat. So, man, we struggled for, first 3 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Man, it was tough. Went hunting, killed one mallard hen, that was it. And then, second day, we went out on a limb and finally found a boat ramp that was thawed out. We went out on the lake, and Kay was able to get a couple divers, which we do from time to time at home. Kay got a nice, pretty bufflehead drake, and then he also killed a duck you never killed before.
Yeah.
Tell him what you killed.
A golden eye hen.
Golden eye hen. Too bad it wasn't a drake.
Yeah.
Which would have been really nice. The funny story behind that, when he was a little boy, now he don't remember this, but I do. It's a dad thing, I guess. I had renewed my membership to Ducks Unlimited, and they sent me this little mini decoy, and it was seriously, it's like 3 or 4 inches long, and a couple inches tall, a little bitty thing. Well, it was a GoldenEye mini decoy, like as a collector's item or something, I don't know. Well, when it came in, I got it out of the mailbox and opened it up, and Kay was probably 4, maybe 5 years old. He said, "Dad, can I have that?" And I said, "Yeah." What was I going to do with it? I didn't want it. So I gave it to him, and after that, that's all I heard about was golden eyes. He was just obsessed with golden eyes after that point. He'd be looking at the Max Prairie Wings catalog and talking about golden eye decoys and how I needed to get some golden eye decoys and all this kind of stuff. He was obsessed with golden eyes. So when he shot that golden eye the other day, man, I was like, of course, we knew when it come in that it was a hen,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh man, well he finally got him a golden eye. Maybe some drakes will come into the spread and Kay can get his golden eye, but that didn't work out. But so we sat out on the lake for a while. I mean, we sat out there probably 3 hours maybe,
Yeah.
and wasn't really having no luck. The divers kind of weren't really paying us no attention, which we didn't really have diver decoys, so all we had with us is our mallard decoys. But we did the best we could with what we had to work with. So finally, about 3:15ish, I told Kay, and I said, "Man, we got to figure out something." It had warmed up. It had been warm the last couple of days prior to that. And I said, we got to go start checking some of these marshes to see if there's any pockets or something thawing out. We got to find some birds. So this ain't gonna work. And which we have been scouting pretty much every day when we wasn't hunting, and there are tons of mallards here.
Yeah.
Tons of them. But we had them narrowed down. They're feeding in the field, private.
Yeah.
And as well as the geese, the honkers. So I told Kate about 3:15 the other day on the lake. I said, we got to go find some birds. We got to do something. This ain't gonna cut it. So we went and put the boat back on the trailer and rode over to one of these marshes that we've only hunted one time. And didn't really have much luck there, but it was, for whatever reason, I guess the good Lord put it on our mind to go there instead of somewhere else. But we went over there to look at that marsh, and much to our surprise, just like everything else, it was frozen. So we had high hopes that it may have a a pocket of open water in it, we might could go out there and bust some ice, but frozen, solid. So we're standing there on the levee just kind of looking, talking, like just kind of disgusted, kind of beat down, aggravated. And Cade just happens to kind of look back over to our right and says, "God, look at all those ducks working that field." And I was like, holy smokes, it was probably a solid 500 or more maybe. Yeah. And we got binoculars, you know, we're sitting there, we're watching, looking at them. And I'm looking at them through binoculars, and Cade says, "Daddy, that field's public." I was like, "What? Are you serious?" He was like, "Yeah, it's public." So we got us a plan together and decided we're going to go do a dry field hunt the next morning. With all we got with us is, we got what, 3 dozen floaters?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 dozen mallard floaters, and we did bring a dozen full bodies. And so I said, well, all we can do is we'll just take every decoy we got, set the floaters down in the corn. It was a cut cornfield. Put the full bodies out. We only got 1 spinner, and see what we can do.
Yeah.
But and it I'm gonna say it was a success.
Yeah.
We weren't skunked. We had a couple of groups work us. We got 5 out of that hunt, 3 mallard hens and 2 mallard drakes. We just Susie slayers. But hey, when you don't have much opportunity, you gotta take advantage of what you get. So that's what we did. And hey, considering we did not come up here prepared nor have the gear for a field hunt,
Yeah.
I think we did well.
Yeah.
And so anyway, as we were wrapping up that hunt, shooting time was over, we saw back behind us these ducks were just pouring into this marsh, and we knew that marsh was over there. We didn't think it was thawed out. But I told Kate, I said, that thing is either thawed out or they're just lighting out there in the center somewhere where it's really, really thin ice and they're maybe roosting or something. We don't know. So we decided to go there, and well, no, we didn't. I'm sorry, we didn't. We saw them pouring into that marsh, but remember, we decided to go to this other marsh over here. And there's 2 marshes on this particular unit, and we decided to hunt the front part of it because it's a place we've never hunted before. And so we got up kind of early because we kind of expected we have to bust some ice.
Yeah.
Got up, drove over there, and at least we were smart. We walked out there and checked it out before we drug all our gear out there. And we walked out there, and we could ice skate.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't know. I don't know how Cade felt, but I was like, my confidence level just went, ooh. You know, I was like, oh my gosh, man. I mean, it's been like 60 degrees for the last 3 days, and this marsh has not thawed out any. Oh my gosh. So I told Cade, I said, hey, the only thing we can do, load up in the truck and go over there to this marsh where we saw those ducks pouring in at shooting time when it would, you know, right there at close to dark going to roost. I said, well, that's the only thing we can do, and see if maybe there's some open water over there. Couldn't go look at it the other day because it was when we got done with the field hunt because it was black dark.
Yeah.
So we rode over there and got there, and there was another guy there. There was one truck in the parking lot, so I was like, golly, we know this marsh. It's not that big. I was like, golly, this is going to be terrible because we're going to be working against each other. You know, he's going to be working birds, and we're going to shoot and mess him up, or vice versa. You know. Well, so we said, well, look, we'll just get our stuff. We'll walk out there. Maybe he'll let us hunt with him, or maybe he'll come join us. You know, and we can team up and got better chances like that anyway.
Yeah.
So we walked out there, walked down the levee, and walked up on him. He's sure enough, young guy by himself. Brandon, super nice guy. And he asked where we were headed, and we told him where we wanted to be out there. And he had told us that he had hunted there recently, and him and 2 of his friends, and they killed a 3-man limit of mallards. So he was like, wow. So I was like, all right. And he was like, man, y'all are welcome to hunt with me if you want to. And I told him, I said, well, man, that's awful kind of you, because I was going to ask you if we could hunt with you or if you want to hunt with us, you know. So that was awesome. We set up, man, and we got set up. He had a couple dozen decoys out. And
yeah.
we had taken, what, a dozen, I think?
Yeah.
Just a dozen, because it was pretty very long walks.
Yeah.
And we had our Invisimans, you know, plus blind bag gear, shotguns. It's a lot. About a half a mile walk, maybe more than that. Probably closer to a mile. That's a long walk.
Yeah.
And we got in there and got set up with him. And man, we had this group of mallards. I'm talking about, how many was in this group? If you had to guess, how many was in this
I didn't
group?
even see the whole group.
You didn't even see them?
No, I never looked up. I just was watching the decoys, and I just saw a bunch of them come in.
Oh,
I didn't see the whole group.
Oh, dude. it was 30 plus. Easy. Now, I know you said you saw what got in the decoys.
Yeah.
You know, it was probably a solid dozen
Yeah.
hovering just over the decoys. And the rest of them were floating down on top of them, you know. And we called the shot. Obviously, we got a dozen hovering over the decoys, you know. And he and I are pretty good shots. Now, I'm not. I've always been told if you got to toot your own horn, it ain't worth tooting. But if you go back and watch the videos, me and this man can hold our own when it comes with a shotgun.
Yeah.
We're pretty good. We shoot a lot of doubles, do a few triples here and there, get lucky, you know, get some good decoying birds. I'll share a secret with y'all that I've taught this man, and it works. He's adopted the technique, and it's extremely effective. You got birds decoying more than two or more than one, for example. What do you gotta do, Cade?
Shoot the highest bird first.
Shoot the highest bird first, because it's common
Highest
sense.
bird in range.
Yes, he's right. The highest bird in range. Shoot the highest bird in range first. Now, if you're picking out drakes, that's great. Pick out the highest drake in range. Shoot him first, because everything below him is going to take it longer. You're going to shoot way up here. Bam! You shoot him. By the time you done shot him, these two, they're still in range.
Yeah.
But if you do it the other way, if you shoot what's over the decoys, you shoot them first. Number 2 bird or number 3 bird, by the time you get on them, they're already borderline out of range if they're not already out. So
Yeah.
you shoot that high bird first, and you got plenty of time for them lower birds. So that's how I shoot. And like I said, I'm not bragging. I'm definitely not bragging, because I'm not a bragger. But you go back and look at the videos at our shot performance and how we shoot. We shoot a lot of doubles and quite a few triples from time to time. So that's my technique. That's how I shoot. Passed it on to my son here, and he's adopted. He's picking it up. But all that being said, we got a dozen birds hovering over the decoys. We only kill 3.
I did double.
Well, yeah, he did. He doubled. I got 1, and Brandon, I was sitting in the middle. We're hidden in the grass. We're in our Invisimans, and he's in a layout. Brandon's in a layout. I'm in the middle. Cade's on my right. Brandon's on the left. Cade doubles. I shoot 1. Brandon, did he even shoot? No, he missed. He missed all 3. We whiffed all 3 times. And which, hey, you know, sometimes you kind of get caught up in the moment, and there's so many birds, and it was like 2 minutes after shooting light, so it was really hard to pick out the drakes, which I shot the Susie, which I knew I did. I knew I shot the Susie, and Cade doubled on two mallard drakes. But man, I mean, Brandon was right here. I'm trying to stay in my lane, you know. I don't want to shoot over on Cade. I don't want to shoot across Brandon, so I'm going to shoot what's right in front of me. Cade raises up, bam, bam. 2 fall, and I got this one like at 10 yards just trying to get up. You can see the panic in its eyes, you know, like, oh my gosh, get me out of here, you know. And I just, boom, and I didn't realize it was a drake until about the time feathers just went, that's when I realized, oh, it was a Susie. But, oh well. Like I say in some of the videos, if they didn't want you to shoot hens, they wouldn't be in the bag list, so I don't care. I'll shoot them. I try not to, but hey, it is what it is. But with all that being said, all those birds coming in, hovering over the decoys, and I experienced technical difficulties with the GoPro. Made me sick. I don't know if some of my batteries are going bad, or if maybe my GoPro needs updating or software update. Something's going on. I think it's the battery, because I got some batteries that don't do that with.
Yeah.
And I need to, next time it does it, I need to start carrying a Sharpie or something so I can mark that battery, like, all right, throw this in the trash. Don't use this thing. Because as soon as you turn it on, it goes beep, 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 and then it cuts off.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? So it's nothing. But, as bad as I hate we didn't get that on footage, on film, it was right, like I said, 2 minutes after shooting light, it probably just would have been a black screen anyway.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. So GoPro is terrible when it comes to low light footage. But so that was that morning's hunt, man. It was really good. You shot those two drakes, and then I got the hen, and then we had some more come in, and we were just pecking away at them, just bam, bam, one here, two there, and finally Cade got his limit first. He limited it out on 5 green heads, and I still liked what, 2 I think at that time. I needed 2.
Yeah, you needed 2 or 3.
Yeah, I needed 2 or 3 after he got his limit. I still needed to get 2 or 3, and I think Brandon needed 3. I think we both needed 3.
Yeah.
And then so we're sitting there, and we had these 2 widgeons come in. They're hovering over the decoys, and I raise up, bam, bam, 2 shots, bam, bam, killed both of them. Shot the drake first, then the hen. And I called the shot. Me and Brandon both raised up. But like I was telling Cade earlier, I was hunting last season with my buddy Jake from Chasing Green from his YouTube channel, and he made a comment about me. He was like, I told him, I said, man, I'm not trying to be a game hog. I'm not trying to just shoot everything out here, And he was like, no, you're good. He said, you're just really quick. When I raise up, bam, bam, I'm on them, and some people may think, oh, you're shooting too fast, you're wasting shells, but I don't miss that much. Yeah. I'm pretty accurate shot.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got those 2 widgeons, and I'm up to 4 at that point. So, because I had killed that hen, and then I got a mallard drake, and then and I got the hen, and then I shot the gabwall. That's right. And then I shot those 2 widgeons. So I got 4. You had 5 drakes, and I think he had a couple mallard drakes.
2.
Yeah, 2 at that time. And anyway, we just had singles coming in from there on out. And finally, I picked away, got a couple mallard drakes, and finished out my limit. And then we was just waiting on Brandon to get his last 2, which took a while. But I mean, we had a 3-man limit by 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took a little while, but what was the most fun about today, or that hunt, was not that we got a 3-man limit, and not that it was mallard ducks, and not that I finally got my storm widgeon, basically, I guess you could call him. He's almost completely stormed out white, so to me, he's a storm widgeon. I'm tickled about that. I've been wanting to kill one of those, a widgeon drake that was plumed out pretty like that, for a very long time, so I'm super excited about that. But the best thing, like I was saying, the best thing about that hunt, the most enjoyable thing about that hunt to me was, if you think about it, we probably only had, and this was multiple times throughout the hunt, but there was probably only 10-minute lulls between the birds.
Yeah.
Like we never really had no hour, 2 hour, hour and a half, 30-minute break where we just didn't see anything. I mean, it was like every 10, 12 minutes, here comes birds. And it wasn't singles and doubles, it was groups.
Yeah,
And,
groups.
Groups, and I'm saying groups of, some of them were 3 or 4 and 5, but most of them were 15 plus.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of birds. They were coming off the fields. I know one of them I killed, one of those drakes I killed, went out there and picked him up, and I was feeling it when I picked him up by his neck, and I could feel right there his craw. and all up his neck. He was just slammed full of corn. So, but it was an awesome hunt, man. Awesome, you know. And then we went back out the next day for an evening hunt, and it was successful. We found some birds in a marsh, set up on them. Actually had to flush them out of there. We actually didn't know they were there. We were kind of going to look at it to see if there was anything thawed out there, to see if it was even able to be hunted. And we were kind of walking up looking with binoculars, and they flushed out of the grass. We didn't know they were there. It was, I don't know, 300 or 400 in there at least. So we grabbed our stuff real quick, went and set up, and they slowly started trickling back in there. We run out of time before we could get a limit, but I got 3 greenheads, and you got 3 greenheads. So, hey, all in all, you know, across the trip, we've hunted what? Let's see, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 5 days, right? Yeah, 5 days that we've killed 25 birds. So, I mean, that's not bad. That's 5 birds a day if you figure it up like that. But we done pretty good, even though we had a couple days there. We never got skunked. You know, like one day we killed 1, next day we killed 2 or 3, and the next day we killed the 5, and then, you know, the limits, and then the final 6. So, you know, we done good. Got no complaints. Only thing I say I would like to have done better was really nothing we could have done.
Yeah.
It just would have been nice if the marshes had been thawed out a little bit better. But you know, we say that dealing with the ice, but it probably was a pretty good contributing factor to our success in the end.
Yeah.
You know, overall, because we really didn't get in them to the last 2 days, so that was pretty good. But either way, this is the final trip of the season, so you know, it is what it is. It's kind of I'm not even gonna say bittersweet because it sucks. I don't want to go home. Season's out now. Well, yeah, it is now. The shooting light, it was over. Season's over here where we are. It'll be back in I think 12 or 13 days. So about 2 weeks, it'll come back in. But we won't be able to make another trip. This is our final trip for the year. So there's nothing left to do now but try to scratch out a few woodies at home and whatever we can scratch out there. I haven't had any luck, which I haven't really hunted at home. Now, he's been a few times while you've been out for Christmas break. You've killed 4? He's killed 4 birds the whole season at home. So some of you people watching this or listening to this on Spotify or on the YouTube channel kind of maybe thinking or wondering, golly, how come y'all don't hunt at home much? Well, he just said that's why. He's killed 4 all season. And we just don't have the habitat. That's really what it boils down to. It's not managed very well. All we have to hunt is rivers and lake flats, and there's nothing for them to feed on. It's just big open water. So the only thing you can do is try to catch them coming in at a loaf and rest. And we just don't. And the weather sucks. It's all typically pretty warm at home, so we don't never really get a good push of birds. So it's a struggle. So we have to hit other states and get on the road, and which is fun. We like it because it's change of scenery, and we get to hunt mallard ducks. We don't have them at home. So, but you know, going back to the other day when we got the three man limit, talking about public land. All right, you know, I hear so many stories about people talking about how, you know, these guys come in and set up too close to them, or you know, they're sky busting, or they're doing this, they're doing that, and or they say something to them about, hey, you're too close, or man, y'all are peppering us with your shot, or whatever it may be. You know, people get attitudes and stuff like that. That guy, Brandon, that we hunted with this morning, he done it right. He offered for us or asked us to hunt with him, which we were going to ask him regardless, but he beat us to it. And that's the way to be, you know. Now, I'll be the first to say, and I can't speak for him, but I'm sure he's probably on board too, because he is my son. So I'm not a fan of hunting with a lot of people. Like,
I hate it.
I can't stand it. Like today, 3 people, 4 is about my max. Anything over 4 and I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'll go hunt by myself. So I will go to another location and hunt by myself. But 3 people is fine. I'm perfectly fine with that, you know. So, but that was really nice of Brandon to ask us. Like I said, we were going to ask him anyway. But it's just a prime example of how you should be on public land, because he knew, as a duck hunter, he knew that if we went anywhere in that marsh, it didn't matter where we set up, and I'm not going to set up close to anybody at all. I'm going to be as far away from you as I possibly can. If you won't hunt with me, or if I can't hunt, or if you won't let me hunt with you. So I'm going to be as far as possible. But he knew, even if we separated and we went and set up wherever we wanted to, and he stayed where he was, he knew that it was going to be bad for both of us.
Yeah.
We were both not going to be able to work birds, or vice versa. If we're working birds and we get them in the decoys and we shoot, and he's also working birds at the same time, well, when we start shooting, his birds are going to flare. And, and vice versa, same thing with him. So he knew that, and it was just a prime, perfect example of how we should all conduct ourselves on public land with other hunters, because we're all out there to do the same thing, and truth be told, most likely, had we not went over and talked to him and just went and done our own thing, we probably would have killed some, but he probably wouldn't have got a limit, and we probably wouldn't have got ours either. So it was a prime example of what to do and how to conduct yourself. But it's sad the trip is over. All we got left to do now is clean up this cabin we're staying in, get our stuff loaded up, take some showers, go to bed, and get ready for the long 13-hour ride back home. But anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed today's podcast. I know it's been a while since we dropped one, but we're going to try to get back in the rhythm of getting these things back out and keeping y'all up to date on what we got going on, how our hunting's going. I don't know how much more hunting this guy's going to get to do. He's fixing to turn into a weekend warrior. School starts back in a few days, and then he's got baseball practice after school every day, so all he's going to have is Saturdays and Sundays. So he's about done. But he had to get out there with all the rest of the people. But I'm off a lot during the week, so I'll be able to hunt some by myself. So we'll see how things go at home. But we appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate you listening. If this is your first time listening to us, make sure you give us a follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And go check out the YouTube channel. If you're not watching on there, go check it out. It's the Duck Roost Podcast YouTube channel. Go subscribe to it and hit that notification bell. Like the podcast, we'd appreciate it. Drop a comment if you got any questions or anything you want to say or ask about the podcast. Drop that comment in the comment section on the YouTube channel, and I'll be sure and get back with you. And that's all we got for you for today's podcast, guys. So until next time, we will catch y'all on the next one.